I never thought one night after work would change how I looked at loyalty, guilt, and love forever. It started with a simple favor, dropping my drunk coworker home, but the way his wife thanked me that night still haunts me, and maybe taught me something about the kind of person I want to be. It was late, almost midnight, when the office party started dying down. Laughter echoed faintly through the dimly lit hall, glasses clinked, and the smell of spilled beer hung in the air. I wasn't much of a party guy, but I stayed because my manager insisted. Across the room, my coworker, Daniel, was leaning back in his chair, laughing too loud at a joke that wasn't funny. He was one of those people everyone liked, charming, confident, always cracking jokes. But tonight, his smile looked heavy, as if it was hiding something. When the clock hit 1, most people had left. I was packing my stuff when I noticed Daniel struggling to stand. He fumbled for his keys, muttering something about going home. That's when our manager gave me a look, the kind that silently said, "Help him out, will you?" "Come on, man," I said, grabbing his arm. "You're not driving like this." He slurred something about being fine, but I didn't listen. I guided him to my car, and as soon as he sat in the passenger seat, his head dropped back, eyes half closed. The road was quiet, just the hum of the tires and his slow breathing beside me. I'd only met his wife, Emma, once before, briefly, at a company barbecue. She was warm and soft-spoken, the kind of person who made you feel seen even in a crowd. I remembered the way she looked at Daniel that day, like he was her world. But tonight, as I pulled up to their house, all I could think about was how he'd been laughing with someone else all evening, a woman from accounting who seemed to know him too well. I helped Daniel out of the car, half carrying him to the door. The porch light flicked on before I even knocked. And there she was, Emma, standing barefoot in a night robe, worry etched across her face. "Oh my God," she said, rushing forward. "Is he okay?" "He's fine," I assured her. "Just had a bit too much." She nodded, eyes darting between me and her husband. She reached for him, steadying his weight. "Thank you," she whispered, her voice trembling slightly. "You didn't have to bring him yourself." "It's all right," I said. "Didn't want him doing something stupid." Daniel mumbled something incoherent, and we helped him inside. The house smelled like lavender and coffee, a strange mix that somehow felt comforting. Once we got him onto the couch, Emma covered him with a blanket and stood there in silence for a while. Then she sighed, that deep kind of sigh that comes from exhaustion you can't fix. "You can sit if you want," she said quietly, motioning toward the kitchen. "I'll make some tea." I should have said no. I should have just left. But something about the sadness in her eyes made me stay. The kitchen was small but warm, a few family photos hanging on the wall, Daniel smiling, Emma leaning on his shoulder. I looked at them and felt an ache in my chest. She poured tea, her hands shaking slightly. "I'm sorry you had to deal with him," she said after a long pause. "He wasn't always like this." I didn't know what to say, so I just nodded. "He used to bring me flowers for no reason," she said, forcing a smile. "Now he barely comes home before midnight." Her voice cracked, and I realized, this wasn't just about a drunk husband. This was about a woman trying to hold together something that was already breaking. "I keep pretending it's fine," she whispered, eyes glistening. "Because that's what you do when you love someone, right? You keep pretending." I wanted to tell her that she deserved better. That love shouldn't hurt like that. But who was I to say anything? I was just the guy who drove him home. "Still," I said softly, "sometimes pretending only makes it hurt more." Her eyes met mine, and for a second, something unspoken passed between us. A kind of understanding. Not attraction, not pity, just two people quietly realizing how fragile happiness can be. She looked away first, clearing her throat. "You should go," she murmured. "It's late." I nodded and stood. She followed me to the door, but before I could leave, she said something that stayed with me for weeks. "Thank you for bringing him back safe," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. Not everyone would have cared enough to do that. And then, she did something I'll never forget. She stepped forward and hugged me. Not the kind of hug people give out of politeness. It was the kind that said thank you for reminding me that kindness still exists. It lasted only a moment, but it felt like time had stopped. When she pulled back, she smiled faintly, a real smile this time. "Drive safe," she said. I nodded, got into my car, and drove away. But something in me shifted that night. The next morning, Daniel didn't show up at work. I didn't think much of it, hangovers happen. But 2 days later, he called me out of the blue. "Hey, man," he said awkwardly. "Emma told me you brought me home the other night. Thanks for that. I owe you." "It's nothing," I said. He chuckled dryly. "She said you stayed a bit. Talked to her." My stomach tightened. "Just made sure you were okay." There was a pause. Then he sighed. "She told me I should be more like you." That caught me off guard. "What?" "Yeah," he said bitterly. "Said I've changed. That I've forgotten how to care." I didn't know what to say. The call ended awkwardly, and after that, things at work got strange. Daniel barely spoke to me. I'd catch him staring sometimes, like he was trying to figure something out. Weeks passed. Then one afternoon, Emma showed up at the office, with divorce papers. She didn't look broken this time, she looked free. She smiled when she saw me. "Thank you," she said quietly. "You probably don't even realize it, but that night, you reminded me what respect feels like." I didn't know what to say. I just nodded, heart heavy but calm. When she left, I sat there for a long time, thinking about how one small act, just doing the right thing, can change someone's life in ways you don't expect. Sometimes, the way someone thanks you isn't about words or gestures. Sometimes it's about how they start living again. And maybe, that's the kind of memory that never fades, not because it's romantic or dramatic, but because it reminds you that kindness still matters, even when no one's watching.